Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here. Don't forget to subscribe. And on this edition of Nick Doesn't Know, but he does his homework, we are talking about Thanksgiving. Now, if you're an American or a Canadian, you know you celebrate Thanksgiving. One's in October, one's in November. You know which is which. But if you didn't know, I love to cook. I actually like to make things, but I am absolutely terrible at it. And by virtue of that, if you were to ask me, hey, Nick, go cook this or make something, I have to look it up like most people in the world. And that's our topic of today, artificial intelligence on the internet ruining your Thanksgiving. And no, I'm not talking about AI in the aspect of your crazy uncle trying to convince everybody at the Thanksgiving table that the Martians ordered the Illuminati to expand the secret Nazi moon base because artificial intelligence is very sycophantic and said, yes, uncle, that's exactly what is happening. I'm talking about good old-fashioned turkey dinners here. And so Davey Alba and Carmen Arroyo of Bloomberg had a really interesting write-up on this, and I did my homework, and so let's just dive in. So I don't read food bloggers. Just to get that out of the gate. I hate scrolling through a dissertation on their childhood memories or whatever before I actually get to the recipe, but I do go for the recipes. And what we're seeing here is a rather interesting trend that is happening this year. So Bloomberg focused on a couple of popular food bloggers, and here's what's up. So the first one we're going to be talking about is the Easy Peasy Foodie and its creator, Eb Gargano. Now, she can usually predict when U.S. readers, in this case, begin searching for basically her stress-free turkey instructions, and also when her Christmas cake instructions and stuff will start climbing in Google search results as well. In other words, we're getting into the holiday season. You want to know how to make that turkey. You want to know how to make that Christmas cake in this case. You're going to start Googling. This year, those patterns are breaking though, because instead of sending basically you and I that are just trying to make stuff to her basically well-tested, decades-old recipes, Google is increasingly inserting AI-generated summaries that are essentially hobbled together from some of her work and others, and it's getting the basics wrong. So Google's AI version of her Christmas cake, for example, would have people cooking this 6-inch cake for 3 to 4 hours at 320 degrees Fahrenheit, 160 degrees centigrade. Quote, you'll end up with charcoal, according to Gargano. On top of this, traffic to her turkey recipe is already down 40%, and this is year over year. So, in interviews, 22 independent food creators said that AI-generated recipe slop is distorting nearly every way people find cooking advice online and therefore damaging these foodies' businesses while causing consumers to waste time and money. And if you didn't know, I just read that the price of turkey here in the United States is up 24% on average when compared to last year. So if you're feeding your family and extended family at Thanksgiving, it's best to avoid AI advice. But it gets worse from here because it's ruining recipes outside of holidays as well. So Yvette Marquez Sharpnack, she's a 15-year author of a Mexican food blog known as Muy Bueno, recently warned her more than 190,000 followers on Facebook. So earlier this month, she posted 2 AI-generated photos of tamales. Now, one of these photos basically was with sauce poured over the husks of the tamales, and another one was showing the tamales lying flat in a steamer, both of which, she wrote, are terrible, terrible mistakes. But there's also long-term damage here as well. So, remember how I mentioned I don't really read food bloggers? That doesn't mean I don't want them to go away. Just stop writing novels and give me the dang recipe. But they may actually become endangered as a result of artificial intelligence. So, Carrie Forrest, for example, she runs Clean Eating Kitchen. AI for her has been devastating. 80% of her traffic and her revenue has disappeared in only 2 years. And although the views started dropping when OpenAI released ChatGPT, it really started tanking when Google launched its AI mode. Basically, her search traffic collapsed. In other words, it's basically writing summaries. We've all seen it when we do a Google search. AI hits first, then come the links, and people are sticking with the AI. And studies have shown that people, when they're reading an AI result, whether it's ChatGPT, Google Gemini, treat it as authoritative in the same way we would a traditional Google search. And since then, she's gone from employing about 10 people to having to let everybody go. Quote, I'm going to have to find something else to do, end quote. This holiday season is on track to be her slowest in years. And outside of job killing, here's the crux of it, because she nails it. She fears that if more content creators give up, the AI won't have new content to draw from, except content generated by artificial intelligence. It may get to the point where, quote, AI is just talking to itself, end quote, and basically you and I, us home cooks, are gambling with the results. The food bloggers basically said Google still delivers the bulk of their traffic, but the once steady source now comes with unpredictable fluctuations that they struggle to understand or plan around. And they're also affecting how food knowledge moves around the internet at a basic level. So when searching on Google for Chinese cooking traditions, for example, a casual cook may be satisfied by an AI overview. But that may draw from the Walks of Life blog. This is a comprehensive English language resource for Chinese cooking, according to Sarah Leung, who is one of its co-creators. Her family has spent years building out reference material on techniques, traditions, and culture, according to her. Quote, AI summaries may have almost completely overtaken results about various Chinese ingredients, many of which had no information online in English before individual creators like us wrote about them, end quote. In other words, she did the homework that all of the AIs that are speaking English to us or writing in English to us are cribbing from. She's not getting compensated for that. And that shift basically has her question whether it's worth actually publishing all of these new reference guides as well. Quote, in all likelihood, no one will ever discover those pages, end quote, because the AI is basically delivering it up. And this is why we're seeing lawsuits over copyrighted material and why the AI companies like OpenAI are trying to change copyright laws to give them essentially a pass. But when AI is talking to AI and the recipes are already distorted, they're going to get distorted even more. Imagine taking a picture of of something, and then somebody basically takes their phone and takes a picture of the image on your phone, and then somebody takes their phone and takes a picture of that person's phone, and on and on. We lose things in the definition. So this Thanksgiving, if you're celebrating, skip the AI results, go to a food blogger, skip their dissertations on their childhood memories on the food, get to the recipe, and actually make something that you know is accurate. The AI basically is screwing it up. And the last thing I want you to do is spend hundreds of dollars of ingredients and have a terrible, terrible Thanksgiving. And that means your uncle's going to get drunk and talk about that moon base. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay informed and well-fed this Thanksgiving. Take care.